Hey, Mike, can you kind of take us through? I said you guys had to put Jesse on the injured list. What through the injury and kind of when you maybe first saw it or when you discovered it was going down?
Yeah, Tyler, first I heard of it was after the game. He said that he felt something. He's felt some things in his shoulder. I explained to the writers earlier that, these guys are always walking that very fine line of does what I feel have enough credit to it to tell somebody every single day, every single one of them, even with all the off days. And Jesse had been feeling some things and been doing his work. He said during his warm up to go into the game yesterday, his work became a little more focal. He could focus on the exact spot, which then indicated when we saw a drop in velocity. And even in Cleveland, we saw the velocity was still pretty good. Movement looked good. But yesterday was the day that afterwards we ended up having to change direction. So he already has seen the doctors this morning, and they ruled that we need to give this some time.
When you're trying to manage these guys, and I know it's been a little bit different with the situation you've been dealing with the last year and a half with COVID and the protocols, and maybe not seeing them here and there. How difficult is it to with the bullpen guys to get the trust on how, if they know how they feel, and for you to read through maybe what they're saying? This is just in general terms, not about Jesse, just trying to figure that part out, to know how they feel every day. And has it been more difficult in the circumstances you guys have been dealing with?
No, it really hasn't. I'd say the only difference is that we're having those conversations through masks. That's really the only, we have more time together. Those off days, we were all passing each other going to the next meal. We were we were all stuck in the same hotel all day long. You have lots of opportunities to have conversations. So can't blame COVID on any kind of lack of communications. The communication lines have been open. I think it's always going to be evolving to how much these guys want to divulge, to be honest. And once again, I'd go walk through that room and ask everybody, look them square in the eye and hook them up to a polygraph. How do you feel today? And they're most likely going to come back with, I'm ready to rock. And only because many of them, especially guys who've been around, it is a fine line between, pain and true injury. There's pain every single day. But is this manageable? Is this getting in the way of me being able to do my job? Is this something that I've never felt before? Is this something that I've had experience where it's felt similar and I've pitched through it and it's resolved itself, or I've been proactive with work with the training room, strength staff? So all of those things are happening all the time. What we look for are any kind of signs. I get reports every day from our medical team, but also from our sports performance people that give us some indicators like, hey, there's a little bit, not a red flag, maybe a yellow flag. Watch this guy, and here's why. And they give us some data to support it. And when we see those, then the conversations happen. Like, hey, man, give me the truth here. Tell me what you got going on, because it doesn't look quite right, and gives us those opportunities. Jesse's case in particular, we hadn't had those flags, but once again, you're talking about a guy who's been around a while and has learned how to cope with some of the demands of what pitching does to you and how it makes you feel. Unfortunately, it's just going to be a pause. I will continue to say we need to get him right. He's going to be a huge part of what we're doing. His stuff is that good, and he's going to pitch significant innings for us. We just got to get ahead of this.
Last one from me. You guys had such a weird, staggered first 10 days of day games, night games, rain out. All that kind of stuff. You got a big stretch of games now. Are you looking forward to kind of the real rhythm of a baseball season kind of getting going now with this big homestand?
Yeah, so I didn't know what time to show up today. Today was our first night game. I was sitting around the morning thinking that I'm late, and we've had a couple pushed back because of weather, but this is our first true late start. I think everybody's just ready to get into that rhythm, and it's almost I always try to assimilate it to maybe running distance, where it's just really painful at the beginning, then you kind of get numb and you roll, right? You just kind of get to that point where you go, your body adjusts, you kind of get into the rhythm of the season. And so we haven't yet begun that. I've been really impressed with how our guys have just fought and tried to figure out ways to keep us in games. not that everybody else has had a better rhythm or better set schedule. It's the same for all at the beginning. But we really haven't been clicking and still figuring out ways to keep ourselves in game. So I'm excited to get some consistent work first and foremost. Hopefully the weather cooperates here in Kansas City this week, because we have a number of guys that need extra work and the early work to focus on a few things that we know you're not able necessarily to work on when you're on the road. So that'll be the first thing. And second is starting to figure some of these things out, getting our pen in there on a consistent basis, watching how guys respond to different challenges, getting our starters on a consistent rotation to where they can kind of start to get a rhythm and feel good about being out there deep into the game for us. So there's a lot we're looking forward to on this homestand.
Carlos, question?
Hi, Mike. Hunter doesn't look good with the bat right now. Maybe you could be the change with Alberto in the lineup?
Yeah, that's always an option. Hunter's a very good player for us, and we need him. Just like I talk about different guys in our pen, Hunter's a big piece, a guy that could hit just about anywhere in our lineup once we get him going well. Unfortunately, there was a little bit of a physical issue with his hand that slowed down his start. Had a good at bat yesterday, and he's going to be fighting through this a little bit here for a while. And that it's always good to have some options when guys get banged up or they need a day, to have a player as versatile and as talented as Hans or Alberto. So he's been a strong asset for our team already. That's with being on the field and off, what he does in our clubhouse. This is a special player. So he's a great option. But over the long haul, we're going to need Hunter Dozier to get himself physically right, start feeling confident about himself and his swing, and get him right back in that lineup.
Tell me about the health of the Alberto Mondesi when he get back to the plate.
Yeah, I have no idea, Carlos. He's still in the middle of the protocol for a medical team. So they've this one's going to take a time. I mean, it's going to take a while. We knew that going in. It wasn't going to be just 10 days and here he's back. I mean, it takes a while for that to scar up to where he can start doing baseball movements. And until you can start doing those, you're still a little ways away. So his body's still healing at this point.
Got time for a couple more.
Hey, Mike, I was looking back. It was almost 20 years ago, I think last week, that Pujols made his debut, and he's batting right in front of you. I think he was sixth and you were seventh. Do you remember your first impressions of him?
I don't remember that, Joel, but I'm surprised he ever got a pitch. We watched him all through spring training, and you could see we've had some excitement in our spring camp here this year. I remember it being very similar. You watch a guy like, dang, this guy is on fire, and he's hitting everything. But it's a short period of time. You got a bunch of number 94s pitching against you. You don't know what level they pitch. So you never really know until you jump into a season. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to be right near Albert when he got the news that he was coming to the major leagues. We were in the weight room together when he got called in, and pretty special memory for a very special player. And we're talking of 10-year span of doing things that nobody's done in the game. That's a pretty incredible statement. But for Albert to come in and take over left field at the time, where he was playing a lot of left field, and then it wasn't for after that year, even going into the second one, I think we all realized that we're watching something pretty special happen here. And just a fan. I was able to spend probably more time with Albert away from the field as at the field to get to know the person as well as the player. And I always tell people, there's about a 9-month period where all he's thinking about is hits. So it'd stay out of his way. But those other 3 months that you get to spend with him, you get to see the person and the heart and the commitment to the community and to his family and to his faith. That's very rare. And it's amazing that, we're coming, spend this long. As you said, Joe, it's been a long time, but what a career he's had.
One more on that real quick. I mean, was there, I think it was Bobby Bonilla that got hurt in that last game, and then he jumps in there and he's in left field. Was it pretty evident quickly that, I mean, I think you were referring to Bobby Witt, in spring training and all that, but was it pretty evident, days in, weeks in, months in, that, wait a minute here, this is not normal?
Yeah, let's make it very clear. I'm not comparing Pujols with anybody.
No.
Yeah,
But the feeling.
I could see this thing running amok here. Joel, yeah, I think it was after you watch, you get halfway through a major league season. There aren't many secrets about a player. They've had plenty of time to do their scouting and to have their advanced work done to put a good game plan together for a hitter. And to watch a guy be able to stick with an approach and then adjust to go and really was, I remember a couple times where he hit little mini slumps to watch how he got back to his strengths and how short those poor stints were, to where it was never even a consideration that this guy needs to go get some work. He was able to right the ship very quickly, and how smart he was as a hitter, using the whole field when he knew when he needed to shorten up and use the opposite field, knowing when he was going up with a 2-strike approach on the first pitch. I mean, just some things that were extremely advanced.